Hey everybody, Jen from Scrapping Under the Influence. I am back with a new project for Doodlebug Design. This is my Oh What Fun folio. This folio measures 7 3/4 high by 5.5 inches wide. This is matted entirely with the 6x8 pad and a handful of petite prints and some solids, and then I've decorated it with the bits and pieces, and then this adorable little Santa Doodle-Pop that I just absolutely loved. So this is a magnetic closure, and as you can see, it just kind of goes and goes and goes. So as you open it up, we've got a little pocket here. This pocket, and there's another one of these on in the book, are part of the bits and pieces pack. This one actually has little gingerbread men on the front of it, but I did cover that up with that little Christmas sentiment because I liked that better. I've got some photo mats with leftover petite prints here. When you open it up, we've got a nice pocket there with a 4x6 photo mat, and another pocket with a 4x6 photo mat, and another with a 4x6. When you get all the way in here, we have got a waterfall. We've got another photo mat. We've got a flap here and a nice size pocket there. We've got a belly band here and a couple more photo mats there. This is the second of the little pockets that are part of the bits and pieces pack, with another one of the little journaling spots. And you open this up and you've got lots of space for some good sized pictures in here. And over here, again, we've got lots of space for pictures in here as well. This one is entirely made of cardstock. I did use 100-pound cardstock to make this. There's no chipboard involved. It is all cardstock and pattern paper and a couple of sets of magnets. And I, of course, have a full tutorial. There is also a kit available for this on my website, scrappingundertheinfluence.com. And let's get into it. Okay, so with this for the base, you're going to want to, when you cut your pieces, they do need to be numbered. It's going to make it much, much easier to assemble this if they are numbered, okay? So, number 1 is going to be 7 3/4 by 5 5/8. With the 5 5/8 at the top, you're going to score at 5/8 of an inch. Number 2 is going to be 7 3/4 by 6 1/2. With the 6 1/2 at the top, you're going to score at 5/8 and 5 3/4. Okay. And just kind of put your post-its on there somewhere where they're kind of in the middle, and you can keep them on there as we do this assembly, because that will make it a lot easier. Piece number 3 is going to be 7 3/4 by 6 7/8. So with the 6 7/8 at the top, you're going to score at 3/4 and 6 inches. I've already scored these once, but it's 100-pound cardstock, so it's going to be in your best interest to make sure you go over your score lines a couple of times. Piece number 4 is going to be 7 3/4 by 7 1/4. So with the 7 1/4 at the top, you're going to score at 7/8, and then again at 6 1/4. Okay, piece number 5 is going to be 7 3/4 tall by 7 1/2 inches wide. You're going to score this with the 7 1/2 at the top at 1 inch and 6 1/2. Piece number 6 is 7 3/4 inches tall by 6 1/8 wide. You're going to score this one at 1 inch. So you're going to want to grab a pencil, and what we're going to do is from your score line, you're going to measure in 3 inches. And you're going to make a light tick mark. Okay? You're going to do this on both the top and on the bottom. Okay? And then you're going to turn it to the side, and you're going to do another one at the halfway point. So this is 7 3/4. So I've got 3 7/8, 3 7/8. We're going to mark it at half. Okay? And what you're going to do is take your trimmer. You're going to line up, if you've got the Fiskars one with the little guide wire, God bless the guide wire, that's all I'm going to say. Line up your tick marks and slice that off. Okay? Do your other side, and again, line those up and slice that off. You can go ahead and toss those 2 pieces. You don't need those. Okay? Now, I'm going to add that back to my pile, flip it back over to 1, and get my glue ready. Okay, and grab my bone folder. So what we're going to do is you're going to fold and burnish from that score line. You're going to burnish from the middle out, always from the middle out, and then go back over it. Okay, you're going to grab piece number 2. So 7/8, no, 5/8, 5/8. So those 2 pieces are going to go together. Okay. So again, I'm going to fold it in half, burnish from the middle out, and the middle out, and we are going to glue these 2 together. So that's going to be the gusset for one section of our folio. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get glue on that tab. I'm going to actually fold that back out. I'm going to line it up and push it into that crease, and then fold it over and burnish it down. Okay, like so. It's best on this not to miter these, just because it will it's not going to look right when this is finished and you've matted and everything. It's not going to matter. So you're not going to need to miter on the different sections of this portion of the book. Okay, so you're going to fold and burnish that. You're going to grab piece number 3, and you're going to get your 3/4 inch side on this one and fold and burnish it as well. Okay. So again, I'm going to get my glue on my tab. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line it up, top to bottom, push it over into that score line, and fold it over and burnish it down. Okay. And then we will fold over our next section and burnish it down. Okay. So this is 7/8. We want our 7/8 inch section on here. Okay. Get my glue again. Pick it up. And burnish down. Okay. And fold and burnish that next one. This one should be 1 inch. This one should be 1 inch as well. Let me see. Nope. Yes, sorry. So wherever your 1 inch is, that's the one you're going to fold and burnish next. And we're going to go through this exact same process. Okay. And again. Okay. And then this one is, I'm not actually sure how tall this one is off the top of my head. This one is 7/8. So this will fold in, okay, like so. This one, we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish. This one will go on here, like so, as our closure. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, open this up. I'm actually going to do it on this side. Pick this up. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so there's our base. I am going to grab our stuff for our inside elements, and I'll be right back. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my little numbering post-its to the front of my sections. Okay, like so. Just to make it easier on myself as I'm putting the elements together and putting them on. So on section 1, down here, we're going to do a pocket with a waterfall. So your pocket piece is going to be, that's not going to be right. Not 8 1/2, 8 3/4. I need to fix that. 8 3/4 by 3 1/2. So let me cut myself another one of those. I didn't even think about that. Okay, 8 3/4 by 3 1/2. I made a slight change to the overall size on this earlier, so at the 8 3/4 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and you're going to score at 8 1/4. You're going to turn it to the 3 1/2 inch side and score at 1/2 inch. Okay, stick that back on there. You need 5 pieces that are 4 1/2 by 3. With all of these, you're going to put the 4 1/2 at the top and score at 1/2 inch on all 5 of these pieces for your waterfall. Back together, set it over here. Section 2, we are going to have a pocket that is 5 by 6 with the 6 inches at the top. You are going to score at 1/2 inch and 5 1/2. Turn to the 5 inch side and score at 1/2 inch. I sincerely hope I just did that right, because somehow that doesn't feel right. That's right. Okay. we're good. We have a flap that is 6.5 by 4 with the 6.5 at the top. You're going to score at 1/2 inch. Did I change that? There I did. Okay. Put my little Post-it back on there. Okay, section 3, we have a belly band. This is 2 inches by, that's wrong again, because apparently I can't do math. I apologize. That's what I get for adjusting my sizing on something. So that is going to be 2 by 8 3/4. So with the 8 3/4 at the top, you are going to score at 1/2 inch and 8 1/4. That is number 3. Number 4 are 2 flaps that are 7 3/4 by 5.5. You're going to score at 1/2 inch with the 5.5 at the top. Okay, and for number 5, you are going to score. Number 5, they are 8 by 5 1/4. With the 8 inch side at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to flip my little stack back over here. I'm going to kind of roll this up a little bit. And we're going to start on section 1. So the waterfall does not need to be mitered. The pocket, however, does. So you're going to miter at the top of the pocket. And then you are going to miter where the score lines cross. And I understand it's very hard to see on the white, and I apologize. Okay. And then we're going to lose our bone folder because that's required. Fold and burnish. Remember, burnish from the middle out on your score lines. Helps keep them nice and straight. Okay. This is going to go down on the outside edge of this flap. And that is not quite where I would like it. So we're going to fix it. There we go. That's better. Okay. So I'm going to glue my bottom tab first. Move my glue where I can actually grab it and not have to reach across myself to do so. Okay, burnish that down. And then come in and burnish that down. Okay. All right, section 2, we have our pocket. And we're going to miter again across the bottom where the score lines cross. And then at the top. And then we are going to miter on our flap, like so. Okay, pocket, we can go ahead and fold and burnish and attach that down. With my paper clip. I have no idea where that went. Probably under my desk. There's like a bar across the bottom of this because it's not really a desk, it's actually a workbench from Home Depot. But it's got 2 huge drawers in it. And this top, like, is pretty much indestructible, so. Alright, so mine, I'm not surprised, is slightly narrower than my actual page, so I'm not going to glue this down until after I've matted it. So if yours doesn't kind of go edge to edge and that's going to bother you, then just hold off on matting that. Okay, our little flap is just going to go up here at the top. And we're just going to center that one. We're going to add our little post-it back on there. Okay, number 3. Oh, we didn't finish our waterfall. It's been a week, can I just tell you? Okay, so the waterfall obviously goes on top of the pocket over here that I totally forgot about. So just go ahead and fold and burnish all of those. Apologize. It's like Tuesday, and it's been like Monday and Tuesday have just been one thing after another. Okay. So that is just going to go on top of the waterfall. I'm sorry, on top of the pocket. The waterfall is going on top of the pocket. And you can use your pocket as your guide to get it nice and straight. So we're just going to go ahead and keep adding our flaps. Never mind. On the last one, you're going to flip that tab back and put it down on top of the one above it. So that way you don't have that little tab hanging out underneath down here. Okay? And I'm just going to fold those all back and burnish as I do. Okay? Alright, so put the post-it back on there. Alright, section 3 is our belly band. Did I not? No, wrong pile, wrong stack. Okay, I'm going to miter on this. Center that up on that section. Okay. 3 back on there. Not that it matters at this point. I mean, at this point, it's kind of obvious what goes where. Okay, section 4. We're going to go ahead and miter both of these. I'm just going to do them stacked together. You're going to fold and burnish. And that's just going to go in here next to your score line. Okay, open that up. On our other side here. Okay, so there is section 4. section 5, we're going to have overlapping flaps again, only this time they're going to go top to bottom. So we have our 2 pieces here. Again, I'm just going to miter them stacked together. Again, you're just going to center it on the section that it goes on. Okay, and there you go. All right, so on this section here, so this is section, what is this? Section 4, yes. Okay, so section 4, we are going to do another pocket. Okay, this one is that going to work? I think it will. Okay. So this piece is going to be 8.5 by 4. We are going to score this at, right? No, that's not right. Just kidding. We're going to score at 3/8. I knew this one was going to be weird. At 3/8, and then you're going to turn it and go 3/8 again, mostly because I don't want to count over at this point. And then on the bottom, you are going to go with your 1/2 inch. So in this case, I'm just doing 3.5 because it's going to be easier to hold everything still and do that. Okay, I'm going to miter my corners and my top. Okay, and you're going to cut into this one like an envelope, similar to what we did on the flap. And this one is going to be, bear with me 1 second, I'm trying to remember how I did this on my prototype, because apparently I didn't write that part down. So are we at 3.5? Okay. Alright, so. Alright, so what you're going to do, from the score lines, you're going to find your center point. Okay? And in this case, it's going to be easier to put this on here like this. I'm going to mark where my center is. Okay? I'm going to come down just a little bit and mark it again. All right? And then you want to go 1.5 inches and draw a line. Okay? You're then going to take our trimmer again. And if you've got the Fiskars one with the guide wires, even better. You're going to line up the bottom of that line and the score line. Okay? And then you're going to turn it and do the same thing going the other direction. And that removes that whole little section. And then we can fold and burnish. And fold and burnish. And that is going to go right there. And then get your sides. And burnish those down. And there you go. So that's how all of that part of it goes together. All right, one more element and then we'll be done. Okay, and our last element is going to be pockets. So we've got our pocket here. We're going to do a pocket here, here, and here as well. Okay, and then of course that's the back outside, so you wouldn't be putting one there. So these are all going to be 5.5 inches high. Our first one, is the first one? Yes. Is going to be 6 1/4 by 5.5. So with the 6 1/4 at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, and at 5 3/4, turn to the 5.5 inch side and score at 1/2 inch. Okay. Your next one is going to be 5.5 by 6 1/8, and again 1/2 inch, and 5 5/8. Turn to the 5.5 inch side and score at 1/2 inch. And the last one is going to be 5.5 by 6. So with the 6 inches at the top, you're going to score at 1/2 inch and 5.5. Turn to the 5.5 side and score at 1/2 inch. Okay. We are going to start with our largest, which goes on the back side of number 3. So on all of these, we are going to miter across the bottom, and then miter our top, fold and burnish, fold and burnish. Because I don't typically sure I'm lined up back here. Everything is good. Okay, we're going to go do our next one. Okay, and our last one is going to go right there. So again, miter at the top, miter straight across on that bottom corners, fold and burnish, burnish, Obviously, it would have been easier to put these on before we did the other side, but I wasn't sure how I wanted to do these. So those will fold up and up and up, and there you go. There is your entire project. If you wanted to on these, you could notch these. You could do, you know, something fancy with those pockets on those sides if you wanted to. You don't have to. I didn't, because I figured we've gotten fancy enough with our cover. So that is it. That's how it all folds in on itself, so that once you've matted it and everything, it all fits and works and is good, and you're all good to go to start matting. I will be back to show you how to mat these two pieces just because they are kind of funny, and anything else that I'm not thinking of off the top of my head that we need to go over for you to finish your project. I'll be back. Okay, so the matting for this section and this section right here. For this piece here, you're going to do 7 5/8 by 5 inches. I think that's what I just did. Hold on, I was just testing this to make sure that I was doing this right. Yes, okay, so by 5 inches. So, oh, but before we do that, let's do our magnets. So we're going to have 2 sets of magnets on the cover just because of how it sits. That's just going to make it easier in the long run to keep it closed. So I'm going to do these about 1/4 of an inch down from your angled edge on this pocket. Okay. Make sure everything's sitting right. Drop those down on top and tape those down. Okay, so that's good. Okay, so you're gonna go 7 5/8 by 5. Okay, then you are going to do the same thing you did before. You are going to find your center point, because this one, I mean, it's directional, but it's not. I don't know that it matters. And since it's not going to be quite an exact, you're going to have to just eyeball it. I don't know how else to explain this. Okay, so I'm using my centering ruler, and I'm just going to have to eyeball the center between here and here. And then mark my center. And then I'm going to turn, and I'm going to do the same measurement we did before when we were doing the main piece, that we're going to go 2 inches. And again, 2 inches. Okay. And then go ahead and line those tick marks up in the trimmer. Where'd my second one go? Okay. And I didn't erase my tick marks on my cover here. Okay. Okay. So then I can go ahead, get the backing off there. And there. And go ahead and glue this one on. Just like so. Okay, Now for this one, this piece after you've cut it is 3.5. So this piece, I don't remember if I wanted to do that one. I think I did. Okay, so this was, I literally just measured it and then did not remember what I said. 3.5. So we're going to do this one 3 3/8 wide. That just does not want to sit evenly down there. By 7 5/8 high. Okay. Again, we are going to take our ruler. We are going to find our center point. And again, because this is directional, I'm just making sure that when I cut this, it's going to be lined up right. And then we want this hold on. And then this one needs to go in, I believe it's 1.5 inches. Okay, so from my little tick mark I've made for my center, not that you can see it, but it's right there. We are going to go in 1.5 inches. Just draw our line. Okay. So there you go. And then I'm going to just do the same thing. I'm going to line up that line to that corner. And then on the other side, do the same thing. Okay. All right. So that should sit on there exactly where we want it. My height feels slightly off on that because it is. Let me fix my height really quickly. Okay. All right, so 7 5/8 by 3 3/8, and then you're going to use the same method you used to cut the first piece, the same measurements. So find your center, measure in 1.5 inches. Okay. Alternatively, you could cut it to your height, or your width that is, and then, oops, wrong direction, sorry about that. Like slide this piece in and mark where you need to cut it, but doing it the way I just demonstrated works as well. And there you go. So I'm going to finish matting and decorating and all of that fun stuff, and then we'll be back to see the finished product. Okay, so I have finished matting and decorating and all of the things. On the front here, I've got, this is one of the cut aparts from the 6x8 pad that I've just matted on a scrap of the red textured cardstock. And then I've got my Doodle-Pop on here. And then I just took leftover petite prints and solids to make photo mats. You will have, if you purchase the kit, you'll have some more of the white 100-pound cardstock from the construction leftover that you could do photo mats with as well. But yeah, so I used both of those pockets. This one I did cover up the little gingerbread men, but it just kind of goes and goes and goes. And then folds back in on itself, nice and compact and good to go. Except I've got something not sitting right. There we go. So yeah, there we go. That is the project. If you have purchased the kit, or if you are going to purchase the kit, thank you very much. I appreciate your support. The cutting guide only is also available on my website, and I'll be back again soon-ish, probably after Christmas, with new project kits. I'm taking a little mental break for a couple of weeks here, and I'll be back again soon with new projects.